Thank you. Thank you once again at the Dashmet Hockey Stadium or Nairobi. I'm joined here today with two KU alumni, passionate people also in the hockey sphere, just to have a recap on some of the happenings this far in the hockey scene. But maybe before we kickstart the whole conversation, an introduction from each one of them, you have a better perspective on who you'll be listening to and also understand why they're so passionate about some of the facts or the information they want to give us. So maybe I start from my right, Juma Juma.
Thank you. So my name is Juma Juma, alumnus of Kenyatta University, Vultures, captain, I think 2013, 2014. I'm also a great hockey enthusiast, founder of Magongo Kenya. Magongo Kenya is a platform that basically just promotes hockey in terms of doing production and doing visibility for the sport.
Yes. Thank you. I want to say you've been a big contributor to our cutaways, all those additional shots we are getting for some of the guests we've had on board, like Job and the others. So a big thank you.
Thank you.
And equally, the whole off-pitch podcast started off because an organization such as Magongo or structure such as Magongo kick-started the whole idea of individuals spreading the conversation. So a big congratulations, and
we are glad
on what's happening.
Asante.
Yeah, Job, a new member here. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
My name is Mac Simiyu. I'm a hockey player and sports enthusiast as well. We are here to champion a way of how we are going to develop this sport. From the years back, we've been on the same level, or rather, the sport has been declined because of many reasons. But now we want to find a way of how we're going to promote this sport in different levels, as well as players and as probably management in different stakeholders.
Yeah. A big part about the whole reason as to the sport deteriorating is the lack of information from the major stakeholders. That is the players, the clubs, and even the sports lovers. Yes. So today I'm having Juma and Job here also on board to just help us in understanding how is the whole union structure is. How does it trickle down, the information trickle down to the club level, to even ensuring match fixtures are going on, so that maybe you, the major stakeholder, can make the right decision when it matters most. Yes. So Juma, maybe we start off with you. There are various organs and programs going on under the overall Kenya Hockey Union. Maybe we start there. Well, what should we understand about the overall Hockey Union Board and how the whole structure is trickling down to the very users who are the players?
Thank you. I think we need to look at it from a holistic perspective. Hockey is an affiliation sport.
Yes.
So if we start at the top level, we have the FIH. That is the world governing body for hockey. And then from FIH, we trickle it down to the Continental Hockey Federation. So in this case, we have Africa Hockey Federation. So under Africa Hockey Federation, we have the National Hockey Associations, which are now affiliated to Africa Hockey Federations. We have Kenya Hockey Union, we have South Africa Hockey Association, we have Ghana Hockey Association, and the like. All the hockey playing countries now are affiliated to FIH. So under Kenya Hockey Union, how the structure is that our affiliation below KHU is we have county hockey associations. So when you look at the constitution of Kenya Hockey Union, the structure is that hockey has been classified as a sport that is supposed to be organized at county level. So any county that is has active participation in terms of hockey, be it schools, be it universities and colleges, be it clubs, then those will be organized in what we call a county hockey association.
Yes.
So below the county hockey association, we are now supposed to have now the bodies that are representing structures within the CHA. So we have clubs, we have institutions.
Yes.
So if I'm to use Nairobi as an example, Nairobi is a county. Below Nairobi, we have various clubs that are now affiliated to Nairobi County Hockey Association.
Yes.
So that, of course, now at club level, every club has a structure.
Yes.
In terms of there is a team. The team has the administrative wing, which will have a president, we have a secretary, we have a treasurer, just administrative functions.
Like the structural administration, how the different stakeholders or different people are supposed to take their own responsibilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So on the administrative bit, you see a club will have captains, it has assistant captains. That is the administration in terms of the playing unit. But now in terms of leadership, those officials of the club are supposed to now represent the club at the CHL level.
Yes.
So in terms of player representation, it means you as a player, you are represented one in your club by your leadership at club level, and now also the administrative wing in terms of how your club, in terms of your leaders of the club, will represent you at the CHL level.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to add anything on the initial overall structure, how we work as a union job?
The structural part really can really help a lot, because now it depends the way where people now are using that position in terms of how they're providing the guidance, how these different things are supposed to run. Because now when you find that for example, when you have the chairman who has a different role or rather responsibility to take in terms of now running the union, you understand? Then you have different people who have the same who are in the same structural position and have different roles they're supposed to take. Because now find that we've reached a level whereby as we started, and we talked about how the sport is declining, and you find that there are so many people who have different roles that they're not taking their own responsibilities. Yeah.
Maybe at this point back to you, Juma. So thank you. The clarity has been good, and I was only thinking on a Kenya level, but thank you for taking us all the way to the international, then the continental, before we can come to the country. Now that we are at the Kenya Hockey Union, what are some of the responsibilities, starting from the union level, then maybe we break it down as we go on, even again to the county, to the club, and even the various administration roles within the clubs?
Thank you. When you look at the KHU constitution, they have defined, I think, 4 objectives of responsibilities or objectives of the union.
Yeah.
And the key one is to promote the sport of hockey in the country.
Yeah.
So promotion means you're supposed to basically expand the scope.
Yeah.
If you started with 5 counties playing hockey, then it means your target is to have 10, 15, 20.
Given duration.
Exactly. So just basically expand the scope of the sport. The second one is now to basically to provide a guideline or a framework within which anyone that is now managing hockey at the county level is able to refer to. Yes. That is why you will hear that a tournament has been sanctioned by KHU
or not sanctioned.
Exactly.
As the previous occurrences.
Exactly. Yes. Because it is their responsibility to ensure that whatever is happening at the county level, one is of the highest standard in terms of maybe providing umpires, in terms of following rules as per FIH guidelines. Because I mean, you can be playing hockey here with your own rules. Come create your own rules, play hockey under your own rules. But remember, FIH has given very clear guidelines.
Every sanctioned match or event should
exactly. Yeah. So in sanctioning a match, it means one, they ensure that we maintain the highest standards of the sport in every tournament that is being played around. Yeah. So remember, one is to promote the sport. Number 2 is to manage the
entire sport.
The entire sport. Number 3 is on facilities.
Yeah.
They are supposed to now ensure that they provide the highest standard of surfaces on which hockey is supposed to be played.
Yes.
That is why when you look at a country like Malawi, they have been able to lobby for FIH and other global organizations to have a turf laid for them.
Yes.
So it means the association, the Hockey Association of Malawi,
doing its mandated
exactly
objective in there, yes.
in terms of setting facilities. And facilities involves also talking to the biggest stakeholder of the sport, which is government.
Yes.
So part of that is ensuring, because some of these surfaces are provided by government.
Yes.
So it means the union has to do a lot of lobbying to basically make a lot of noise, make the government aware there is a sport called hockey.
Yes.
We need a surface in every county or a surface in
This
every.
is why you need that.
Exactly.
The number is
Exactly.
growing.
Exactly. So I think when you can look at the constitution, there are 4 objectives. I'm not very familiar with the 4th one, but basically that covers the scope of what the union is supposed to do. Yes.
Yeah, Job, do you want to add anything on what the role or responsibility of the union at the national level?
I don't have much to add because the way you just explained, and the way we earlier talked about, there are actually responsibilities. The people need to take their own responsibilities because we find that actually the best way to grow this sport is it's all about how you're going to manage our own responsibilities. Because in terms of the county level, for example, I saw most of the teams were holding or probably planning in different tournaments. You find that Mombasa is actually growing in various counties. Eldoret is coming up. We have a tournament that always happens in each and every year at around around March, yeah.
Yes.
And you find that once you have that kind of structural environment whereby now counties are holding and probably having their own tournaments, you find that we need to find a way of how we're going to promote this sport. First of all, at county level, how are we going to promote this sport? Because you find that the number is growing, they have said, and people are actually they're running away from this sport because you find that during our days, we used to have numbers, and you find that I can use an example of football. You find that football right now, they're actually championing growth of football from high school level. You find that right now, the structure that actually is being laid, other much is not working that much, but at least you see that they are having a structural way of running it from high school level. Then, but it has reached a level where they're not running it well during the campus level because we find that most of the campus are playing hockey, right? And not hockey as well, but football. But there's a level where we need to find a way of governing this area because now if they have found a way of promoting sport from high school. How are we going to promote the sport as well during the university level as well?
Okay.
Yeah.
Juma, Job has really taken us where we were supposed to go next, at the county level.
Yes.
Hearing they are supposed to be having quite a number of county associations in place and whatnot, but the most popular one are either Nairobi because of the dominance it has, Mombasa, slightly Kisumu, and then thanks to it's the
Mwenyewe Hockey Festival,
tournament
yes.
in Eldoret. You might also have to think about Eldoret being also amongst here. So who are the other county associations, and what's their structure like, and what's their general mandate in also ensuring national level hockey can go on?
Thank you. I think in terms of the counties that have so far registered with the Register of Sports and those that are actively playing hockey, we have Nairobi that has recently complied, I think in December of last year. We have Mombasa. Mombasa is very active.
Yes.
We have Kisumu. We have Kiambu. We have Nakuru that is in the process of registering. They have not finished. We have Homa Bay. We also have Bungoma. I think their process, I'm told, is still not complete. So I think we have a total, out of the 47 counties, we have around 12 counties that are either registered or are in the process of completing the registration process. However, let me say that in terms of, and Kakamega, in terms of counties that are actively playing hockey, it means we're just talking about just a few: Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Kisumu, Kakamega, and partly Uasin Gishu because of the activity that we have in Eldoret. And we also have Kirinyaga County that has a little bit of activity but is also registered with the registrar.
Okay.
So in terms of the mandate of the CHAs, the mandate of the CHA is the same as KHU's mandate. It means they are promoting the sport but at grassroots or county level. So it means basically their mandate is to expand the scope of coverage of the sport. At county level, we have schools. We have these high schools, primary schools. We have local clubs.
Which ideally should all be having some hockey activities going on.
Exactly. Yes. So the mandate of the CHAs is to run their own hockey activities at county level and report to the national organization, that is KHU, on basically report on a periodic basis what they are doing at county level. Let me give an example of Kakamega. models that I feel, in my opinion, are working in terms of promoting the sport of hockey. Kakamega County and by extension Western Jaguars have a junior team that I think is playing in the National League. So this is basically pulling players from high school and giving them exposure to a National League to be able to just grow them and transition them into
exposing them.
exactly.
Even at primary level, you find that they're also picking players from the primary level, and find that at the moment they choose the school that they're going to join, they probably have known how the sport is being played. Yeah.
And this is evident in the school secondary games, constantly ever dominating. It's either Musingu, Kakamega School itself, Kamusinga,
Yes, yes.
Kibabi, and the likes. You can mention quite a number of schools, or even high schools, already showing a good promise of producing better talent.
Exactly, and it is not fluke. Remember, I think any high school, I can give you statistics, any high school that is playing good hockey, there is a story behind it in terms of someone putting in place structures to develop players from primary school.
Definitely.
Friends School Kamusinga, for a very long time, they dominated because they pulled players from the streets of Wanjandege in Bungoma and Kimilili, those areas. They had basically a structure. It was a bit informal, but they had a structure of pulling players from. So someone will come to Form 1 and they can already join
The team.
the team.
Already competitive,
Exactly.
or showing promise of a good player as early as that.
Exactly. Let me give you another example. In Mombasa, this year I covered the KSSA national games in Machakos. Yes, there is a school in Mombasa, I think Shimolateo. Exactly.
Yeah.
When you look at the story behind them reaching where they reached this year, it did not start yesterday.
No, it's not.
A coach has put in work for the last 8 probably
years.
8 years.
Yes.
Exactly. They went the first time, they went to the provincial level, regional levels, and now this time, I think for the second year running, they have come to the nationals and they have competed very favorably.
Yes.
So there are individual flashes of brilliance from just people putting in work. Go to Kitale. I'll use this example, and maybe I might be a bit biased because that is where I went to school. Keegan joined St. Anthony in the year 2005. That school was not a hockey playing school. It was known for playing football alone.
Yes.
In fact, the first time we went to play at the provincial level, we were using football uniforms. There were no hockey sticks. He came with his personal equipment. Yes, he actually came with his personal equipment and gave us.
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
So it means we have individuals that are doing the work.
Yeah. Who have their own best interests towards the
To
sport.
actually see the
Yeah.
sports
Growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, then maybe we move on. Are we done with the responsibility of the county? Because to a large stretch of it, I'm feeling this is where all this structure needs to be well done. Because them, they're dealing with individuals close to them or in their region, and seeing the development is something that they should be propagating for very, very loudly.
Allow me to say this. I think, in my opinion, counties have done very well. Those that are actively playing hockey have done very well. In terms of giving us a crop of players that at least have the basics. Because at the national level, all the players that are transitioning to university have come from somewhere at the county level.
Yes.
It's just that maybe in terms of structures, there is no proper structure that you can say there is a scientific way in which things are happening at county level.
Yeah.
Apart from the few examples that I have mentioned, and for instance, if you look at the TUSA model, for example, it's a scientific model, but it is not attached to the county.
It is not.
It is a personal initiative, someone's personal initiative. So I think the counties that have hockey, there's activity happening, but you cannot directly link that activity to the structures within the county level. So whatever is supposed to happen is those individuals within those counties that are actively involved in the sport are supposed to now work with the CHAs at that level to have a structure that you can actually tell if a player started playing hockey at 10 years or at 5 years.
15, where is he? At 20, where is he? And
Exactly.
so on and so forth.
You can have that structure.
That structure.
Yeah. Okay. We move on to another body which is supposed to ensuring the overall development of sport in the nation. Now at the club level, what are the responsibility of a club in ensuring that they grow the sport within their circle, then it can trickle into the national, county, and also so on and so forth? Job.
The, the way you talked about the structure, I think there's also a structure at club level whereby now the management. So first of all, you start the management. If the club has a management, how are they going to run the sports using the management that the club has? For example, you have the president. Whereby you need to have let's say for example equipments first of all, and how are we going to attract players to probably come and play that sport in the different club level as well. First of all, the facilities. How are this team having the kind of facility that they're going to use? Probably the ground, well, because you need to be training each and every day, for example, or rather thrice, most or 4 times a week. Because if you don't have, let's say, a place where you're supposed to train, it's making things so hard on club level, and you find that most people are leaving the sport at a tender age. You find that most of the people are leaving the sport at their peak level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So understanding the responsibilities of, again, all these organs, I would want us to keep on dissecting them as we move on to see where is the loophole and how we can best fix it. We've seen what their responsibilities are. So again, all of these organs are being following certain rules and guidelines and laws to ensure that they abide or they can just have a continuation in their activities back at the national level. So what are some of the laws or guidelines that we are living by to ensure the sport is successful?
Thank you. I think one is since we are Kenyan, we are guided by the Constitution, Kenyan Constitution of 2010.
Yes.
The Constitution is giving us basically a model, or a model within which we are supposed to operate as Kenyans.
Yes.
So anybody operating in Kenya draws a lot of inspiration from the Kenyan Constitution of 2010. Another very important document as far as management of the sport is concerned is the Sports Act of 2013. So the Sports Act of 2013 basically came to harmonize activities of sports in the country. Because before the Sports Act of 2013 was enacted, I think we were operating, the different sports within the country were operating amorphously, everyone running their show and running their own things. But the Sports Act 1 established various bodies, one like the Sports Fund, that is supposed to basically consolidate funds that are supposed to be used by the various sports within the country. So it means anyone that, if you have an official tournament of any sport, football, hockey, rugby, it means you are supposed to go to the senior stakeholder, which is government in this case, and say, we have a tournament, we are going to Egypt, these are national tournaments, ABCD.
Yeah.
And then they will organize funding from the sports fund.
Yeah.
The sports fund was supposed to be funded, one, by government through, of course, collection of taxes, and also by donations and grants from endorsements, exactly, bodies such as these betting companies. If they want to make any donations, they can make donations to the sports fund.
Yeah.
So that was established by the Sports Act of 2013. At the sports level, the union has a constitution. The constitution is also cascaded from FIH, and then Africa Hockey Federation, and then now, of course, at the union level. So the KHU constitution will now spell out what are the responsibility of course, like the executive committee of the union. What are their responsibilities? What is the responsibility of the council? It will spell out issues to do with disciplinary action, for example. What is the recourse for a county hockey association in terms of instituting disciplinary action for a club or for a player? So all those are spelled out in the constitution. It also spells out in terms of funding at at the national level, how is the union going to get funding? So basically just a document to direct the sport in terms of administration, how everything is supposed to be done. And then now that constitution is supposed to cascade to the CHS and also to the club.
So everyone else is supposed to be falling in line with this from the union level, going on
As it trickles down.
to everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Having this in mind, it's supposed to be wholesome now that it's helping govern everyone of the country as a general. What are some of the guidelines which would say are helping the sports grow at this particular point from within the constitution, that is?
If I do like a global for all sports in Kenya, is it has given us a framework within the sports fund to say that once we comply with the Sports Act, for example, we can walk to government and say, we are a team Kabaddi, we have a tournament in India, we are taking there 10 players and 3 officials. This is our budget.
Yes.
So it is giving us a legal backing with which we can approach government, the sports fund, and get a drawdown from the sports fund to be able to facilitate our activities. So it means if we do not comply with the Sports Act, we cannot go to government and tell them, please give us money, because then they do not recognize who we are. As a body, they don't recognize who we are and what we are doing, and if the activities that we are doing are legal or illegal.
Yes.
The other very important regulation within the constitution is it has given players a framework for redress. Whether this is followed or not, that is a separate discussion, but at least there is a clear framework of redress that if I have a grievance, for example, at the county level, I can approach this official and exactly and raise my grievances. Exactly. If for example I need financial statements of the union, it has spelled out the structure within which I can be able to get such important documents. So at least we have a structure within which, a framework within which we can operate. Exactly.
Job, any good will out of the current constitution?
Okay, I haven't read the constitution that much, but one thing I understand is the possibilities of how we're going to, or how the sport needs to grow. First of all, the way the Juma has just explained, but there's a bit whereby we need to actually have clarity, because you find that in those long days that probably have passed, we never had a platform whereby the sport is going to be marketed. For example, the way Juma started Magongo, he started the photographical aspect of taking images of different players and of using different clubs as well. And there's a channel whereby they had started, but due to different misunderstanding,
Ideologies.
you find that the way he started, it made there's people have different ideas and different mindset, and the way you understand how the kind of craft that you're doing, the way you started, you find that there is at a point whereby other people are fighting them, and the photographical aspect now declined. But now, how are we going to market the sport through now? Because one thing I believe, this kind of craft, you need to have photographical or even videographical mindset, or rather the aspect whereby now you're going to market the sport, because you can't present something through any board there without them seeing what the kind of craft that you're doing. Now, how are we going to find a way of now marketing the sport through the social spaces, through mainstream media, or rather streaming the sport? Now, how are we going to do it? Because now we are the people who are going to probably champion that to a different level, whereby the sport needs to be grown, or rather to grow on mainstream medias, or rather these social platforms, so that at least people need to know what the kind of activity that is being done.
Yeah, so I've been reading through it ever since the whole conversation has started, and one bit that I've noted was not clearly stated was the marketing bit. How are we supposed to grow this sport past just people attending it in the field? What are the structure? How can someone come on board if they want? I didn't see that bit about it. Leading me to my next question. Now, what are some of the limitations to the current constitution that maybe is giving space for the decline of the sport?
I think first, allow me to say that I think as a country, we do not have a shortage of laws. In Kenya, we do not have a shortage of laws. We have
New
the
ones
laws that
cropping
we
up
have.
every time, yeah.
Yes, the laws that we have are sufficient to manage all our affairs. The only problem we have is that we do not have the goodwill of people to follow the law.
Yeah.
For instance, if the constitution says that you are supposed to be in office for 4 years, that is your constitution. Or like the constitution of Kenya says, we are supposed to have elections. It has specified in the constitution of Kenya of 2010 that elections will be held on this day of this year, every 5 years. Every 5 years. And they have given limitations, not unless maybe during that time, if there is civil war or there is extraneous circumstances that will make it impossible for us to hold elections, then we're supposed to hold elections.
Yes.
So
That's not
as far as the law is concerned, I think we have sufficient laws to govern everything that we do. As far as the KHU constitution is concerned, I have tried to compare the document that we have in Kenya with the Ghana Hockey Association constitution, with the South Africa Hockey Association constitution, which of course, remember, we are drawing our document from Africa Hockey Federation, which is drawing their document from FIH. So in essence, the constitution should be very close. Should be very close. Maybe just with a few changes to
depending with the region or country,
exactly,
again, which is acceptable to a certain limit.
Exactly. But let me give an example. The South Africa Hockey Association constitution and our constitution, they are very far off from each other.
In what sense?
Let me give you an example.
Go on.
In South Africa, they have those hockey playing regions. So you'll have like you have Gauteng, we have Pretoria. They have classified
Different
the same way we have classified counties. Yes, so they have those regions. And then they have in their constitution they have given very specific provisions to say, for example, if in the Gauteng area you have 150 clubs, then it means on the voting table you have 3 votes. If another region has 100 clubs, then on the voting table they have 2 votes. If another region has 10 clubs,
the voting table
they have one vote. You cannot claim to have equal representation for a region that has 150 clubs to have the same mandate in terms of decision making as another region that has 2 clubs.
It can't be the same because
for a larger audience.
Exactly. Same way and you see that is will tell you something about our Kenyan constitution. Why do you think, for example, we had constituencies that were split up? This constitution was split up because of population. You look at population, it means, you can't have a constituency that has 10,000 people is being represented by one person, and then have another constituency that has 1 million people being represented by one person. That is why those big constituencies in terms of population were subdivided into several units, so that there is equal representation. So that is one very distinct difference I noted between the Kenya Hockey Union Constitution and the South Africa Hockey Constitution. The other one is in terms of removal of officials in office. The Saha Constitution is very clear. They have given a mandate that these are the responsibilities of the officials of the union, and they have given grounds on which any official can be removed by the council.
And when the next election, if so, can also take place.
Exactly. It is very clear, and the constitution has been written. I think the drafters of the constitution had they had the thought that if you're not doing your mandate, you need to be removed.
Yes.
And they have given 1, 2, 3. These are the grounds for removal, and this is the process.
Yes.
Ours, it mentioned a very
tiny,
a small paragraph, and doesn't give even the procedure.
Yes.
It doesn't give the procedure. It just says I think they have just said that in an AGM, if council members, 2/3 of council members can.
It has to be called in, I don't know, 15 days or 21
Exactly,
days
exactly.
and so on and so forth.
So, do you think the Kenyan Hockey Constitution is working in your own perspective?
It is working for those that want it. The drafters of that constitution drafted in such a way that they want it to work for them. I can tell you that without flinching. It is working for them. But in terms of working for all the stakeholders, it is not. However, as I mentioned earlier, in Kenya we do not have a problem with regulations, because regulations are made by people and they are broken by people. So what we need, even with the constitution as is, without changing it, we just need leadership goodwill to say that our objective is to grow this sport, increase visibility, grow popularity, push sponsors into the sport. What can we do? Even with the constitution without amending it, we can still be able to work around without amending it.
My question is now, with the election as an example, so what's the best way for us to go about it? Because I've felt this has been going on for the second year now. Somewhere I will take like a whole tenure in office before something is done. What are the best guidelines for us to proceed right now?
Okay, one, remember for the current office holders, their term came to an end in 2022.
Yes.
But I think what has been the push and pull is because CHS have not complied with the Sports Act, and even most clubs have not complied with the Sports Act.
Yes.
So it means if we go to the registrar to say we want to have elections, we do not have the minimum threshold to be able to hold elections.
Yes.
And that, of course, has kept the current officials in office up to now. So that is a technical undertaking that has been used by, of course, even other officials in other sports. Volleyball have the same problem. They even had to forcefully try to evict their officials out of office.
It got all physical to a point. It's still nothing has happened.
Exactly. You saw what happened also in rugby. There were also those challenges.
Same.
Table tennis have the same challenge. They have a president that has served, I think, for almost 20 years. All these sports, name any sport.
There's also a problem in football because I've covered some few football matches, and so many people are complaining in terms of the people who are on board, or rather those leaders. They haven't had much time having elections because there's so many people who are in offices, and they really feel they are holding that position unconstitutionally. Yeah.
Then this brings my next point. So what do these county hockey associations need to do, or even at the club level, what do they really need to do to ensure they remain compliant, or they have a voice or a seat at the table?
Very good. Number one, as players, we need to play our part. Because remember, everything is starting at the very granular level, at the player level.
Yes.
You as the player, you have a role to play in terms of making decisions as to who will serve as an official of your club. Because remember, the people that are supposed to serve into the administrative structures of a club are still players or former players.
Yes.
The other day I was talking to some officials of a club that have not complied. And I was asking them, why have you not complied? Yes. And they told me that, we do not have, the players within, officials within the club do not have the requisite documents that are required to register with the registrar. I mean, and these documents is your national ID, KRA PIN, which you have, good conduct, which you can get for 1,000 shillings, tax compliance certificate, which you can get free online, health clearance, you can get free online, clearance with EACC, online. And I challenge this. The
e-citizen, all that has been made a lot
exactly
easier now.
So I did a very simple experiment on Thursday of this week. This official that was telling me they did not have documents. They had two officials had documents, one did not have the documents, and they wanted 2 male and 1 female official. So I told this lady, which documents do you have? She said she has an ID, at least she can go to a studio and take passport photos. She has a KRA pin. And I literally sat down with her, and we, on Thursday alone,
Took her through the process.
yes, we applied for tax compliance. She sent me her logins on iTax. I applied for tax compliance. She got a tax compliance. We went to HELB, applied for HELB. She got HELB. HELB clearance is free.
Yes.
We went to ESCC, made an application on ESCC. I called someone at ESCC, said, I've made an application for this so and so.
Give me an update.
Yes, send me. This guy told me, send me the documents. I sent him the documents. The approval was made immediately. The only document that we didn't get is, I think,
Good conduct, because that I feel
yes,
takes a bit
yes,
of
good
time.
conduct, because I think it needed for the fingerprints and all that
Yes,
process.
you have to go to the
Yes,
CID
but
headquarters
out
and all.
of all those documents, we were able to get 90%
In an afternoon, in a day.
in a day.
In a day.
So I told nobody should tell me that they are not registering because they have documents problem.
So it goes back to the club level. There's no way you want to put your leaders, people who can't be compliant, and still expect them to represent you at a national level,
Exactly.
where all the stakes are much higher.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Job, what do we need to tell the people again at the club level before we move on to the county?
It's all about now registering, because once you've registered, it will be a bit easier to now start voting and probably have the change where what people and the change of what people are championing. Yeah.
At the county level, Juma, how do you say there are proxies also in certain county level?
Yes.
So how do we avoid having proxies or having people register other counties which don't have legitimate people to be in those positions also?
As I've said, let's actively playing units. Let's have, you see, the other day when we had space and had this discussion, I mean, today I have contracts for almost anyone that is interested in hockey in this country.
Yes.
So let's have genuine players taking up the initiative, because if you don't take the initiative, tomorrow someone will go to your home county and look for a boda on the market and tell them, please sign here, I'm going to pay you 5,000 shillings.
On a regular?
You'll become an official and you will come and vote. That is exactly what is going to happen. And those are the underhand tricks that people are using, because they know the only way you can have a voice on the table is through the County Hockey Association.
Yes.
So please, if you are a player based in Nyamira County does not have a CHA. Nyamira people, please go and register. Turkana, yes. I was born in Turkana. Yes, I was born in Turkana. I'm actually going to mobilize people in my county of birth. We are going to register that CHA.
Which other areas do we need to call out for county associations to be formed in?
You know, before even it talks, we need to find a way of now mobilizing people and sensitizing on how you're going to run this thing, because you find that without now people registering, it's going to be hard in terms of even voting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have those actively playing counties. For example, Mombasa, the CHA has complied, but you'll be surprised in Mombasa in that all those clubs, as active as they are, it's only Daikyo that has complied with the registrar
At the club level.
at club level.
Yes.
In that region, we have Kilifi County, we have Lamu,
Kwale,
we have Kwale. Those hockey playing counties within that region.
Yeah.
I mean, those people can organize themselves so that they hold the young brother's hand. Because like Mombasa West, I think, is in Kilifi County.
yeah.
That club should be helped by people in Mombasa County to register. If you go to a region like Western region, Kisumu is compliant, Kakamega is compliant, Bungoma is in the process. I think Vihiga is also in the process. Why can't those people help Busia to register?
Now that they've gone through the process, they might know the challenges
Exactly.
that will be expected and how to maneuver.
Exactly. Go to the North Rift. Uasin Gishu, I think, is in the process of compliance. Nandi Hawks are in Nandi County. Eldoret, there is Elgeyo Marakwet, Frisk are in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
Yeah.
Why can't Uasin Gishu officials because these are the people that, these are clubs that you will have your local tournaments here and there. As you grow the sport, why can't you encourage these counties within that neighborhood? Trans Nzoia, West Pokot, that block, because those will be like already 5. Take the Mombasa block, another 5. Come to the Nairobi block, another maybe like 10. Go to the likes of Kajiado, the likes of Narok, because Narok High School, very serious, playing hockey. There is a university there.
Yes.
Yeah? Masai Mara, they have hockey. So it means these are people that can be, as we have this conversation, and even as we encourage people in terms of just giving them information, let us not allow some amorphous officials to use underhand tactics to go and register those CHAs in the place of validly passionate hockey players.
Who would want to see the sports grow at that level?
Exactly.
Yes.
So do you think we need to find a way of now mobilizing people who are in those regions and telling them what they need to do, so that at least we need to have numbers in terms of change?
Correct. That is the same reason why we have a space today evening to basically just tell people that, look here, you cannot be Narok, you play, or you are in Machakos County, you play hockey at Machakos University, and you have someone that is an official within your county that you do not know.
No, true.
They do not play, they have no interest in this sport, they have just been used for a very specific reason to be able to vote. Then after that,
It's
the
done.
work is done. It's done.
So we need to find probably we need to find the youth, actually the youths, because I really feel on my end we need to find those people who are in the sport, like the younger generation, and they probably come from those regions. We need to find a way of now making them aware what they need to do, and probably giving them the responsibilities of making this change work, because we can't really be going through the same cycle and structural way of operating. Yeah.
My name is Juma Juma. Stay tuned to Off Pitch Africa.